All right, guys, welcome to our Sunday night call. And I am super excited to be here with you guys. I'm going to try to stop this messaging on my phone. I don't know if you guys have messages that come on your computer also, even when I turn it off. For some reason, completely quit the program. I still get my iMessages. So very, very interesting. So if you're messaging me on the cell phone, we can halt that. But, a lot of us got back from a Rod Harrison event, and it was the top 50 event, and it was so good. It was so good. And just some, really aha. So depending on kind of where you are in this level of building your business, there's a few things, and we're going to have some shares from people. And then Cindy is also, Vasquez is going to talk about the Spanish community that we have. Spanish, people who speak Spanish, that don't speak a lot of English, or that maybe don't speak English at all. Maybe their only language is Spanish that they speak. We have a system that's really created directly to that. Just like our product pages and our opportunity pages that are all in English. So that's something that I want to make sure that everybody knows about. And Cindy is so gracious to run those things for us and rock and roll them. So she's going to come on at the end. And then that way, if you guys have any questions or anything, we'll let her close it out and you guys can ask some questions, anything specific to the group. And something huge aha takeaway. So I've been building this business now for almost 5 years, right? August of 2012 is when I got started in Isagenix, and really building hard in January, but really thinking about, coming up on 4.5 years, let's say, it's just so many changes can take place and certain areas in our life and what we're working on. So today I really want to focus on, are you guys really utilizing the Healthy Mind and Body program? Because it really all talks about mindset. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever had negative self-talk or been into self-sabotage, or, you start something new and it's super exciting. And what Rod Harrison calls kind of the inception phase, where you're just super excited, even if you don't really know the whole, really what's going to happen, but you're committed just out of excitement and going, and, possibility is there. And then kind of some old patterns can creep back in that mindset. Or if we say certain things to ourselves, let's even take weight, for example. I'm going to let my sister talk about that, just really with some shifts that I've seen and that she was at there. Cause I really want everybody to start thinking about, what is it that you identify yourself with? We can say, I'm a millionaire, right? And Isagenix. But if you really think about, do you believe that? Can that be your identity? Or is your identity set that money's always a struggle, no matter what? I'm always going to struggle with money. Or, are we saying that to ourselves? I'm not good enough. So just all of those patterns. And so I just really, Isagenix has this amazing Healthy Mind and Body program. The IsaBody is amazing for, keeping track of our body. But I just want to make sure that every single person is aware of that Healthy Mind and Body, because it's something that, also it has it set up, and it really allows us to identify those patterns that just keep reoccurring in our life. And, sometimes we do it. It's just that self-sabotage that just kicks in. And so I just really wanted to put that out there. But I want Morgan, somebody, and I know she shared on the Live Fully call also a lot about this, and just kind of about like when you were ready, but, maybe just a little bit of your identity, or even with your, what you shared at Rod Harrison's event, just about, something always happens, or with your foot. But I would just love to know some takeaways about being at that type of personal development event, and just some ahas that you experienced. Hold on, I'm going to find you. You can unmute yourself, Morgan. Oh, there you are.
There you go. You unmuted me. Hello. Well, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, good. So I'll tell kind of about this Rod Harrison thing. I just kind of wanted to go back to like the 4 years in Isagenix. And, when I started, I came in just because I was miserable and wanted to lose weight and just wanted to feel better. And that started to happen. But what I also got with Isagenix was a community of people, a community of support, the events, going to each one of these events. So if I fast forward to like this 4 years, and I look at myself now where I am, and if somebody was like, well, how did you get to this right now where you're, I've had a lot of people tell me lately, I see the shift in you, I see how you've grown, and I can see it in you. But honestly, it's been 4 years of conversations, 4 years of events, 4 years of struggles, 4 years of failing and succeeding. And so it's gotten to me this point here, but as far as like the Rod Harrison event, before that event, I had been to all 4 core Isagenix events. There's Celebration, there's New Year's Kickoff, there's ISAU, and then there's UIA. And I had attended all of those, and each one of those were amazing, and I got something from each of those. And then by the time this event came up, it kind of like put it all in full circle for me. It was like the perfect time for me to go to this event because I had been doing the work on myself. And I mentioned struggles, and one of the things he really talked about was identity, just like you were talking about, Casey. And it was this huge aha moment for me because, as a lot of y'all know, at the beginning of Isagenix, I had released 60 pounds pretty quickly. And then slowly but surely, I started putting the weight back on, and ended up gaining about half of that weight back. And then just recently, within the last 3-4 months, I had this major shift of where I kind of got back on track. And when I got back on track, was down about 17 pounds. I was walking every day, and I just had this, motivation. I was feeling great about myself. I was feeling good again on the products, and everything was just like, it was like this turn, this shift, this feeling great. And then I was at Casey's house over spring break with my son. I was out walking, 17 pounds down, doing well, feeling good. And I fell, and I sprained my ankle to the point where I have not been able to do any type of physical activity since that day. And that was about 5 weeks ago. And so at that moment, I had this mindset that was like, here we go again. This is always what happens to me. I always fall, I get on track and I start doing well. And then there's some type of something that comes into my life that gives me, I don't know if I could make it, maybe now looking at it, it was excuses on my part. I see where I would make excuses. I would allow outside things to come in and sabotage my, my vision and my goals and my dreams. And if that's all all it took was that. And so when I got to Rod's event, he really clarified to me that it wasn't just, that was my identity. My identity was someone who starts doing something, and then I allow, something else comes in, and then I go back into the outside to eating, or allowing emotional eating to come back. And so that was my identity. And so at that moment, I had a choice. I had a choice to look at my ankle as something that was a horrible experience. And it wasn't fun. Of course it wasn't fun. It's not been fun to be in a boot and be at the doctor and got to go for an MRI next week and all that stuff. That's not fun, but I had a choice. I could look at it as something that was going to derail me and allow myself to say, okay, I'm going to start emotionally eating and make my excuses. Or I could choose, this has been my identity. This has been my paradigm. I've allowed this to happen to me so many times. And I'm not going to allow this time. This is a no. I have control over what I'm eating. I'm going to continue to eat well. And in a short period of time after I injured my ankle, I'd ended up getting on the scale, and all I was doing was eating well on Isagenix, and I was down 11 pounds. And that's the power of changing your mindset, changing your identity. And if I had not been in Isagenix for the time I'd been in, if I hadn't been to all the events and all the conversations and all the community of support and this new family that I have, and just feeling like I have a place to belong with all of y'all, it would have never happened. I would have been like the same person that I was 7 years ago when I had the same exact injury happen to me. And I literally put on probably 100 pounds after this injury happened because I ended up having a surgery. I was laid up in bed. I got severely depressed, and I used food. And that's what I did. And I was scared that was going to happen this time, but to have Isagenix, the community of people, and this new mindset that I have, I feel like I'm being pulled by a higher source, my higher self, and it will not happen to me again. And it's very empowering. I feel like I'm finally stepping into my own power. And just Rod's event, Casey, going over my vision, my purpose, my identity, the way he kind of put it all together. And I'm just still mind blown from the event, and just so excited about where we're going.
I love it. And you guys, so think about that, just that awareness though, Morgan, that you have. And so I invite everyone, your mindset is everything, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. What is the language? What is it that we're speaking to ourselves? And then what are the patterns that we allow to creep back in? But it's been so fun watching you, Morgan, just on the journey. And I mean, your business is growing. You put on your vision board too, and you saw yourself working from home, and, you don't miss Joshua's baseball games now. For the most part, complete control of your own schedule, right? And so I just think that it's just been so amazing to watch you. But it's oftentimes we see somebody achieving something, but we don't know the story or just that whole, deception phases that people go through and what they have to do to get out of them. So I think that it's so great to, be reminded just from people's personal experience. So thank you so much for that share. We also have Miss Shanna is going to share. So Shanna, they just got back from an awesome trip. And what's that like too, Shanna, to be on a trip and still, make money, right? So I think for me, when I really started building a business and I'd be on vacation and I saw that I was making money while I wasn't working, like that's when it really hit very hard for me, just about truly, residual income and what that does for you and your family. But you text me and you just said, oh my gosh, like you were feeling it. You were like, I'm changing. What was maybe one of those aha or mindset or identity for you where that, you text me that? I was like, this is exciting. Like, tell me more about it.
Am I off mute? Okay. Well, it's funny. I posted on Facebook something about being in Florida, and Lindsay Kramer was like, how do you go there after like what we just came off of? And I didn't really think about it at that point, but it allowed me to practice some of the things that I learned, to be conscious, which was like the biggest aha that I got over that weekend, which I cannot, like Morgan was saying, I've been to all 4 core events and then some, but this by far was the best event that I have ever been to, about mindset, about consciousness, about just being aware. And so I was so much more aware of even just the way I was talking to my husband, the things that I was saying to my children. I mean, the way it came out of my mouth, the patience that I was able to have. I mean, you got to have patience when you're at Universal Studios. I think on Thursday, it was like 5th grade day there. And it was like somebody released all the 5th graders and it was just like pure mayhem. So you have to have patience. So I was able to put that all into play. It was actually a great thing that I didn't come back to home. I came back for one night, and so I wasn't thrown back into old patterns. And so it was actually a good thing because I was not, when you get home I know I get thrown back into old patterns, and so I didn't. So that was pretty powerful. I have to say that the most that I have actually learned has been from the work that I've done afterward in the first week's assignment that a lot of us are going through or have done so far. Holy shit. I mean, it caused me to dig deep about myself, to dig deep about my team, it was a big reality check. And it was I'm just enjoying the whole process. One big takeaway was about vision. And, meeting Casey and how many years ago, 2 years ago, and learning about vision and vision board, I just slapped up a vision board, and that was just what I did. Like Casey said, put up a vision board. I slapped up a vision board. I think I'm on my 2nd or 3rd one just because we've refined it a little bit. But the vision, what I got from this weekend is so much more than just the board. It's more than just the things that you want or that you want to, that you want in the time. It's like, it's becoming the person that can create those things that you want. Like that's the vision, is becoming this different, not a different person, but it's becoming a better person to create those things that you want. And like your vision is not your purpose, but you have to believe it before you see it. And so that was the big thing. Like I could put all this stuff on my vision board, but do I believe I'm going to be, Isagenix 300th millionaire, which is my number? do I believe it? That's a whole nother thing. So I've been practicing visualization daily, sometimes hourly. And for me, I've been doing it when I wake up in the morning. And my visualization isn't really like, it's not always like who is this person I'm becoming or what do I want out of, my life or these next however many years or whatever. I honestly will visualize my day and how it's going to pan out and how certain relationships are going to play out, how certain conversations are going to play out, how my day, I mean, for those of you that I don't know, like I have to manage my day pretty pretty well because I homeschool 3 kids and I do this, as a business. So I have to visualize what that's going to look like. So for me, I'm really visualizing my whole day out. So that, that visualization was really powerful. The other thing along with that is I struggle with certain relationships in my life with family members, mostly for those that I've talked to, my mom, I struggle a little bit with that. So, and I talked a little bit about at the retreat about feeling judged just because for doing things differently. And, I've always done things differently anyway, but then I marry somebody who's, goes to chiropractic school, and then we learn a whole new way of doing things, and we do all kinds of things differently. And so I talked a little bit about feeling judged, and also judging people who I felt were judging me. It was like this cycle. But Rod, who, gosh, I don't know why I have the biggest crush on that man, but because he just speaks such wise words. Oh my gosh. And I laughed so much. I mean, I don't know about the rest of you that were there, but especially on Saturday, I laughed until my belly hurt. I just laughed so much. But back to what I was saying before, now I forget. Rod really helped me to understand that the reason I was feeling the way that I was feeling was because to certain people, and I'm sure everybody on this call can relate, because network marketing is something that is not the norm. So people kind of look at us like we're crazy sometimes, like, what, you're in that pyramid, scheme, whatever it is. But to them, we represent uncertainty, and that's scary for people. That's the unknown. And so that put my whole life, really, my relationships into perspective, that I represented uncertainty to my mom, my family, my brother, and that was scary to them. And I know that they want what's best for me, that they want, me to make the best choices for me. They just don't understand my choices. They don't understand my journey. So I can totally relate and get that I represent uncertainty, and I can be okay with that. I can be totally okay with representing uncertainty. One other thing that I want to say too is, and I talked to Casey about this too, because I think Rod is a great trainer. And one thing that he said was, do what you do best and get others to do the rest. And so saying, like, really playing on your strengths and get others to do the things that you're not so strong at. And I think sometimes, like in this business and life in general, like we tend to get down on ourselves when we're not very good at something, and we'll say, well, I'm not very good at that, or I really need to work on that. And and now I kind of feel like, well, you know what? No, I don't really need to work on that. Like, I don't really need to work on that. I'm going to play up to my strengths, to the things that I do the best. And what Rod said, when you get really strong, then that raises the consciousness of other things, right? So those other things will in turn, and thankfully I have a partner who my strengths, are maybe not strengths of his, and his strengths are maybe not strengths of mine, and we can kind of play off of that. So that was pretty powerful. One other thing that I wanted to say, and I don't know if anybody else can relate to this in relationships, but and I wrote down so many things, but 2 types of responses, a loving response and a cry for help. And you never answer a cry for help with a cry for help. You only answer a cry for help with a loving response. And I thought that was just genius.
It's all so much genius. And I remember, the very first event too that you went to, Shanna, it was kind of like kicking and screaming and going a little bit too. But with what Morgan just shared, you guys too, I really want you to think about this, right? With events, we've got a lot of events coming up, celebrations coming up, and just about, like Morgan talking about, just the Isagenix family and just that unity and where you're going to be. And then when you're surrounding yourself, sometimes, or your family members, sometimes people can judge us for being in network marketing, but it's just because they're uncertain about it, and people just don't know what they don't know. And, I loved what you touched on too, Shanna, just really, with your vision, like, what do you see? Like, it's Sunday night, what has you on a call right now to learn more about this business? Same thing with the GPS system. You have to plug in, you have to tell the GPS where it's going to go, right? And there's probably many different routes to get to that same kind of the destination from where you are, but you look at where you are, but you also have to say, okay, here's where I am, here's where I want to go. And I love what you said. It's about becoming the person you want to be to then attract what that vision is. We attract what we what we are, not what we want necessarily. And I think that too, just that responsibility, you know, when we take responsibility for our lives, let's say maybe we don't have enough time freedom, we don't have the resources, we have debt, you know, all those things that we do have, and kind of where we are, but that's okay, right? It's just where we are now. Where do we want to be? All right, well, let's become that person. What is a person who has gone from there to here with their vision, right? And just to attract some amazing just people in their life too. And that's you guys, the relationships that you attract in this business along the journey. And I remember Lynn Hagedorn saying too, it's not who you know now, it's who you're going to meet. It's who you're going to meet. Some of us are blessed to be able to have, you know, close friends and family members that do get on this journey. Sometimes they get on a little later though, right? Maybe a year or 2 years down the road because they see us. But it's okay. Even if people don't, be okay with that. Know that you're meeting people. And, you know, I love what you said there too, Shannon, like as far as a cry for help, a loving response, just love people where they are, be okay. You know, William talks so beautifully about not trying to change others, only changing ourselves, you know, to convince another that's, you know, against their own will, you know, they're of no different opinion. And so really it's just working on ourselves so much and really just taking that mindset to the different level. And Rod Harrison is amazing. And you guys, Healthy Mind and Body, like that program, they pay you to do it in products. You know, they pay you to really do it in products. So it's, you know, you get the voucher back for doing it. So $45 worth of products for $39 program. I mean, you know, corporations that implement these programs just throughout it. And it's just that daily action. But if something is not right in your life, in your business, in your team, I promise you it is because of mindset. And so if it is mindset, like we deserve so much to work on that. And you know, what it is that we're constantly causing to show up in our life and certain feelings. So somebody else that is going to share with us just really about the event. And again, you guys, the sum of the people that you're surrounding yourself with getting on. Monica, somebody said that, you know, like being in a cult. I mean, any group of organizations where people kind of have a similar belief system, and like, you know, I want to be around people that are looking for the positive, that are changing their life, that are going upward. You know, I don't want to be just surrounded by people that, you know, are just wallowing in sorrow, or, you know, they're really just focused on maybe what's not going right, or, oh, this is how things always happen. You know, you got to be around those people that just uplift you, and somebody who definitely does that. Where is our friend Jordan? My husband, I think, is filming a video, so I can't do your power move, Jordan. Where did you go? I was just looking at you. Hold on. Do a wave or something. Put your face all up in the computer. Oh, there you are. Something can be right in front of you, right? Even looking for it, and there we don't see it, right? How life can even be like that too.
We talked about that. We talked about having that clarity at the retreat, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, having that clarity. And you know, talk a little bit on that too, because, you know, as people being on here, you know, I mean, just really kind of your story and where you've gone and your growth, it's just been incredible. You've just, guys, you and Courtney have came in and you've hit the ground running. And I know that you drove like 12 hours to go to that event. You know, there is sacrifice. It was Mother's Day. You know, you came to that, but what are just some aha moments that you could teach based on what you learned and experienced from that event, and share with us?
I'm still paying for that. that it was Mother's Day. When she agreed to it, she didn't look at the calendar and realize it was Mother's Day. But you know, that's just another thing that goes to show, you know, the sacrifice. I mean, and speaking to that too, I'm looking on here, and you know, whenever I get on these calls, I always send them out to my whole team, and then I always look to see like who's serious, so I know who I need to put my work into. Because you know, like Casey tells a lot of us, like, you run with your runners, you walk with your walkers, and you don't want to put a ton of your time on people that aren't really interested in pursuing this, you know. And I look, and I got one of my guys on here, Ron. Ron has enrolled one person, you know, but Ron's on these calls weekly because I feel like he sees the vision that I'm putting out there. You know, like Casey said, when she came to this, she had 50 people on her Facebook or something. And, you know, Ron keeps having these thoughts like, I don't know anybody that's going to want to do this, you know, but he's reinventing himself. Ron is doing the things that we learned at the retreat on a daily basis without going to any retreats. You know, he's taken his old habits and putting them out the door, and you know, starting these new habits, and he's posting about it, and he's recreating himself. So it's good to see you on here, man. You're drawing a following, whether you know it or not. You know, people are going to catch that fire, whether it takes a month or a year. So glad to see you on here. But, you know, just speaking to what Casey's talking about, mindset and the retreat, and how she said, you know, something's right in front of her. Rod talked about that at the retreat. You know, how your vision and how you can let outside influence or, you know, the things going on in your life block what you're looking for when it's right there in front of you. Like he gave an example of, you know, looking for the remote, you know, or the keys to the car, and you're screaming at everybody in the house and the kids and the dog and kicking the dog because you can't find the keys. And then when you take a breath and you look for 1 second, you know, the keys are right in front of you, you know? So just about having some more clarity, you know, in your life. And I feel like coming back from that retreat I keep, you know, I keep reminding myself of little tidbits that I learned, you know, at the retreat, you know, implementing that stuff. And I mean, these events are priceless, you know, and, you know, what I really want to talk about though, besides the events, you know, and mindset is, you know, who you're surrounding yourself with. And that plays a tribute to Ron too, because I preach this to my people. And when I first came into this, you know, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I just kept getting told to, you know, be a product of the product and watch this Zoom and do this training. And so I did. And I started watching these trainings and these Zooms, and I replaced my music during my workouts with people talking and with videos and YouTube videos. And in the very beginning, one of the first ones I heard was this old guy who, I mean, I guess he's old, but Jim Rohn. And Jim Rohn has been in network marketing for a long time. And he says that you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I heard that and it kind of went right over me, and I thought about it, but then I heard it again and I heard it again and I heard it the next month and the next week. And then a couple months into this, I really started to look at who I was spending, who were the 5 people I was spending the most time with. You know, not just life, but I mean, you have to spend time with your coworkers and you have to spend time with your wife. But I mean, if you're trying to build an Isagenix business, who are the 5 people that you're spending the most time or talking to the most or connecting with the most in Isagenix? You know, who are the people you're modeling yourself after, you know? And at first I started looking at it like, you know, okay, you want to model yourself or you want to spend the most time or talk to the most people that are making $1 million or $500,000 or whatever. But after this event that I went to with Rod, and some of this self-development and growth stuff that I've been doing since I got back, it's not just about the people that know how to make the money. Like being around Rod, you know, coming back from that event, you know, we're talking about surrounding yourself with people who have the right mindset, surrounding around people who are motivated, surrounding yourself around people who can help you reinvent the new you that you thought you already reinvented from the old overweight or lethargic or sick or whatever you were. And I've lost 55 pounds now. Now I'm this new person. I just got off a box opening call with the new enrollment. And I was telling him, like, I'm this new person. I have this whole new level of health and wellness in my life that I wasn't this guy. I wasn't this guy 6 months ago. And now I'm this new guy. But then I went to this event and I was around, you know, this Rod Hairston guy, and like all these people that I didn't know, a couple that I knew in the group, but out of the 35 people there, tons of them I didn't know. And each one of them gave me something to take home with to help me get to that next level of where I'm going, like that next level of growth, you know? So it's true. Like you're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And for me, this last week was like 34 other people, you know, but it's like I took just a little bit from each one of those people and those stories. I mean, we cried together, we laughed together, we joked together, we got serious together, you know, we shouted together, we held hands, we stared in each other's eyes from 6 inches apart and looked into each other's souls and you know, commended each other and told each other we were good enough and that we belonged to be there. We belonged there, that we deserve to go where we're going. We deserve to have all the abundance in our life that we have. And some people that I stood across from had tears running down their face, you know, and other people, like you could just see the determination in their face, like that they knew, like you were telling it to them, but they already knew. And you could see the people that were trembling because it took that moment and that connection with that person across from them for me to subconsciously tell them, like, you're good enough, you're worth it. Let go of the old, let in the new, you know? And so for me, I might've just became one of those new 5 people that someone else is going to use to get to that new next level in their life, you know? And it goes back to me talking about Ron in the beginning. Ron's on this call. He doesn't know anybody on this call but me, you know? And it's, you know, he's surrounding himself with these new people. Like, as long as you keep doing it, like you're going to rebrand yourself and be this new person on this new level. And, you know, people are going to see that, you know, and his old friends might start saying, where you been at, buddy? What are you doing? And then he can tell them, I've been doing, you know, I'm doing the self-development stuff, man. I don't want to be that old person I was being. And they can either come with him or he can let them go. you know, and it's up to where I've told him a couple times, it's like, you know, when you're doing this, and just like Casey said, I'll speak to it again. It's not about who you know right now. It's who's going to come into your life with what you're doing and the moves you're making and the motivation that you're putting out there and the new person that you're becoming and how you're putting it out there to the world. You know, so many people that have come into my life now, like, you know, I'm going to do a product call later with a guy from South Carolina that I sat next to at a restaurant after the first day of our retreat. I walked into the restaurant and we did our power move, and I walked into the restaurant and I did my power move with Adam. And this guy looked at me, he was like, man, in this Southern accent, he's like, y'all are crazy. You know, and he's like, what are y'all doing here? You know, and starts talking. So I started talking to him like I was Southern, because that was another activity we did in the event, was like, even though I wasn't, I picked up on it. And for the first 20 minutes, he's like, oh, I thought y'all were from here. And I was like, no, man, I'm from Michigan, you know, but I connected with him because I walked in there. And when I walked in there, he felt my energy. Like, he thought I was crazy at first, but then he felt my energy. So when I talked to him about my product experience and my, you know, where I was 6 months ago and where I am now, he looked at me and was like, I believe in this guy. I can run with this guy. I can connect with this guy. And he was ready to sign up right there at the restaurant, but the back office was down. So I couldn't enroll him until a couple of days later. But I mean, it just like that. I take each moment and each event and each experience and try to recreate into that next level of person you want to be, because you're constantly drawing people into this organization or your organization, or into this business or into this lifestyle. You never knew would have been there if you didn't get on these calls or go to these events and start becoming the sum of the 5 people that you're spending the most time with.
That is all truth right there. And, you know, just thinking about though, just going and, you know, just your excitement was felt, right? Like, he felt your excitement. And when you know that, you know, and your mindset is there and you're committed, it's like people are just going to come to you. They're just going to feel you, and people are going to want to be a part of what it is that you're doing. And I'm going to share the Rod Harrison call that is just so incredible. It is, it's a podcast, and I had not heard it. And I know Lindsay, Jordan, and Amanda, they were all talking about it. And it's just really such a powerful podcast. I know I shared it with Chris, and she was like, oh my gosh, really take the time, you guys, listen to that. And if you identify with some of those hurdles and things, I really encourage you to the Healthy Mind and Body program. And also to you guys, you know, go the Isagenix events. Like, you have to come and feel and see the culture. You have to be a part of it, right? Events are so key. They're critical to success. I do not see people that come into this business and have success if they are not at events. So if you have a big vision or a big goal, or, you know, a why that's more than just, you know, dabbling and just, you know, having a hobby with Isagenix and eating the food, you can't not be at these events that we're talking about. Our next big corporate event is in August. That is Celebration, and that is going to be amazing. I know I'm going to see Stephanie and Jordan. I know Ron. I'm going to see you guys up in Michigan. So if that's a Michigan, you know, the team up there, so I'm super excited about that. I do believe that it is sold out, but for those of you who are going to be up there, congrats for committing to that. And then 2, you guys save the date for November 18th and 19th, really the 16th through the 21st, down in Hilton Head, Savannah. So going to be bringing Rod down there too. So just definitely, yeah, Lori's excited. So definitely, you know, save the date for that. It's going to be like another type top 50, but, you know, again, but don't wait for that to get to an event. Look at Celebration. Like, if you're really serious, you know, don't let that pass you up to go to one of those events. You'll see, right, that some of the 5 people are, what are some consistent things that people who are earning, you know, money in Isagenix, if you talk to the top 100 income earners in Isagenix, I promise you, events are non-negotiable. It's not optional. It's the number one tool that they use to build their business, to keep building their life and keep showing up. And so, you know, get on isagenixevents.com if it's something that you want to go to. Get with your team, get with people. I mean, we put people on the floors before in hotel rooms. Like, we make it possible. I know Isagenix events on Facebook right now. I'm sure you can find some tickets that maybe even went at the early bird pricing. You know, don't use a justification or an excuse as to why you can't go. right? Don't let those creep in, or tell yourself a story. Like, look at it, and find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So I just wanted to really, just the power that events can bring, and motivation, and it's the work that you do after, right? And it's continuing to do the work. That's why, recharging your battery and getting on these calls and everything, it's so important. So I'm going to post that call with Rod. I want you guys to think about that. I'll also put the event to Isagenix events, the link there. And I want to talk again about three-way calling. You guys, I'm going to do that, and Cindy's going to come on and she's going to share with our Spanish group. But, I did some three-way calls. And when I first start doing calls with people, three-way calls that maybe hadn't done calls, or even if they've been building the business for a while and they start doing three-way calls, and enrollments start happening. And so are you using that tool as well? And I got some feedback that I had shared the Lenny Evans and Dave MacArthur link for that, about the power of a three-way call. And so I am going to put that also. Take the time, watch that. Watch the power of a three-way call, all about the edification. They do an amazing diagram of it on his whiteboard. Him and Lenny really get into it, and just the power of it. And so you're equipped with the greatest tool that Isagenix people use to help them build their business outside of events, is three-way calling. So I'm going to put a link there, that too. So you guys, do yourself a favor, watch that, check that out. Chris, do you have your hand up for a question? I just saw it.
Yeah, hey, I just wanted to give a really quick shout out, just to kind of piggyback on what Jordan said about with Ron. Joey and Samantha Dunn are on this call, and same deal. It was like, you guys, when somebody comes along that just does like the coachability factor, they, it's like, okay, here's what you need to do to get your business going. And it's like immediate response, like come right back, like, all right, I got these 3 people. Let's get them on a call. Like, let's do this, a couple days later. Okay, I have some more. They went off and actually scheduled a barbecue launch event that's coming up in about a week or so in the Columbia area. Invited like over 100 people, like steadily getting more responses to come in. And it's just like that is it. I'm so excited because like these 2 guys, like they're just doing the do, like they're following all the instructions and like doing everything that it takes. And so I just wanted to, I'm just excited that they're on the calls every week and showing up and getting their name out there, telling friends. And Joey texted me today saying, you were right. Like when people, you start using these products and having great results and people come to you, like I was having a conversation with a friend a couple of days ago too, saying like, it's the easiest job ever, like, and the most fun, but like these products, like you don't have, like they'll sell themselves. So that was it. I just really wanted to talk a little bit about, coachability, and I'm just super excited. Wanted to give them a shout out just for, they've got kids and jobs and just like, a lot of the people on this call, but it's not stopping them. So good job, guys.
Love it. Congrats. And it is, you guys, Coach Bill and what we're doing. I'm telling you. So let's take it now. Cindy is going to share with us all about the Spanish group. I'm sure that we all know people in the Spanish community, or we want to grow. That's a super large growing community. So you are unmuted, Cindy. Thank you so much for all your assistance. I know so many of us reach out to you just, about anytime we have questions, or for the Mexico market or Colombia market maybe. So just kind of share with us kind of just, what's going on in the groups and how we can best utilize them and really add value or support to really help that community keep growing.
Awesome. Thank you, Casey. It's an honor, and I'm grateful that I'm able to contribute this way, not only for myself, but then for everyone in our team, because we are such an amazing team, and blessings to all. So the Have It All Dream Team in Spanish, translation of it is tener todos los sueños. And it's exactly a replica as the Have It All in English. So we do have 2 groups. We do have the product, prospect, and introduction of all kinds, recipes, same concept. And also the opportunity one for business, for those that are looking to build a business in the Hispanic market, US, Mexico, and Colombia. And I'm looking forward when we continue to open, the whole Latin world in America. So it's the same concept. For example, the product, which is de tener todos los sueños. you invite your prospects, you put them in there, and you do a welcome, as we do as a Have It All Drink team. It makes it more personal, makes it more exciting, and they feel more welcome when you actually do a welcome for them. And then the other amazing part that makes it more fun is to contribute. And if for any reason, let's say that you all want to contribute, but you don't know the language, I am more than happy to translate for you. Because honestly, when you all use Google Translate, it just doesn't make sense. I'm being honest, and I don't mind. It's just that it's so technical that it just doesn't make sense when you're used like, slang. It's kind of like British and English. There's, the dialect changes. So I don't mind if you guys, hey, Cindy, can you translate this for me? And I'll just go ahead and send it back to you. You can post it there. Same thing for the opportunity. I was able to go to a Mexico and YKO in February, and it was amazing. It's growing. We're like number 7 right now as a network marketing, health and wellness. So it's really, there's a lot of potential. There's not so much. I don't see any competition with any other company. It's like we are the best. And it's, as we all been talking about personal growth and mindset, it's what you're focused on, right? Energy flows, in other words. So if you guys have any questions, more detailed questions that I didn't cover right now, let me know. But it's the same concept as the Have It All Dream Team in English.
So really any product page. So like, let's say, for some people, because I know we got a couple teams that come together. So like it's the same kind of any product page. So even if you're not like in the Have It All, One Ripped team Ignite, like it's what your product page is that, the Have It All, it is in the Terrace, but for any product page, just throw that out
right.
there.
Exactly. It's the same concept of all those other teams. But then in this case, all in Spanish. That's the purpose and the intention is for all those that are in the States that only speak, for example, Spanish. And then all those also who are building internationally in Mexico and Colombia for right now. So for example, the way I do it, when it pretends to the US, I will let know all US associates or product users, this is what's happening, or this is what is promoting in the States. Or I would also say here, attention all Mexico, associates, or if you have anyone building in Mexico, I will go ahead and make sure it's for Mexico or Colombia. And it's the same concept as you just explained, same for the opportunity. That one is still growing because it still is more product users right now. But then also the opportunity, webinars from actually Isagenix corporate, either from Mexico or Colombia or even in the States. I know I have spoken with Isagenix corporate here in the US, and they're looking to build the US Hispanic market. For example, where I am right now in El Paso, which is a great border Hispanic one, and Arizona, California. So there's going to be a lot of even more focus and more support from our corporate office, which I'm grateful for that as well. So it's contributing to the groups themselves. I'm actually also translating, documents into Spanish, like how to cleanse, the 30-day system. I also have some links for for videos, even prices in Mexico. And if you all want to have like a webinar, how to do the business in Mexico and how it's paid and how it's ranked, I can also go into detail into that because of the timing right now. But for example, in Mexico, they use consultant, then junior consultant will be manager, senior consultant is director, and then they have executive. And the reason they use consultant is because of the recs business-wise over there, the language they use, vocabulary-wise. So it's very similar. It's just all in Spanish. And if you are looking for translation, 3-way calls in Spanish, that's why I'm there to help.
And I want to still too, for somebody who doesn't speak Spanish, and first, thank you so much for all you're just so on it and always just offering so much support. But like, let's say as far as, for just a little tip for you guys too, when you go to like isaproduct.com or you're on Isagenix event, you'll see like the flag You know what I'm saying? So you can see a flag, and when you select your country and you select your language, so even when you're on like an Isagenix thing or ISA FYI, something like that, you can go and, you know, for product wise, and you can select, let's say you're still in the United States, but you want it in Spanish, and then just copy and paste or screenshot, because, you know, as we all know, when we're adding people into our product page, you know, if we're putting somebody into Fit and Free, and, you know, but we're never adding value to that, then we're not going to be pulling people back to it. So, you know, have we added people, you know, into the Spanish groups, but if they're not friends with the people that are posting in there, we're not going to see it. So often something too that, you know, I know that we can do is we could just go and copy and paste maybe something that you had posted, you know, previously, Cindy, and just kind of keep those in the feeds, or so that we can see it, you know, going in for us too. But I just want to make sure everybody knows that, you know, you can also kind of Google, you know, to get things in Spanish for any of the markets too. Again, you know, for Mexico, Colombia, or again, even the United States, but using, you know, Spanish for that. So I think that, you know, utilizing those tools, but just really, you know, putting those value posts in is something that if we're using those groups, we definitely want to be contributing, and, you know, not just adding and welcoming, but putting those value in. So that's a couple ways that I know that, you know, I've added some things, is just taking screenshots and stuff off of with the company.
I actually
that
do that. I copy and paste. I like to copy and paste and save. For example, when I go into FYI and I search into Mexico or Colombia, it goes into Spanish. So what I like to do in order to create interest, kind of like magazine style, you know, when they post on your emails, I like to just copy and paste just like one paragraph or two, then save the picture and then post it. And then I just put the link there so they can go to the actual website and continue reading, just to keep it more fun and more interested in that aspect. But yeah, that's another awesome way to do it. I also go, for example, on Pinterest, and I find either English and Spanish recipes, you know, that I also copy and paste, and I just post. And of course, I post where it's coming from. So those other ways, like Casey, you just mentioned, that's other ways that I've done it as well. And it's really fun. I'm very yellow personality, so I'm like very fun style. I like to do something live, explaining how to use the groups themselves. But that's the whole concept. I do have also the hashtag way of searching stuff. So I like to use, for example, the hashtag TT, which is the abbreviation of the name of the group itself. And then if it's products, it is in Spanish, but then I'll say if it's a product that I'm in that way, you know, celebrating whatever, I would just put hashtag TT productos. It's almost in Spanish, just add the OS at the end. If it's education, same thing, hashtag TT education or testimonies. And it's just the hashtag and TT make it a lot easier if in case you are looking for specific information and you don't want to go like scrolling down. That's another way. And I do have pictures there. Same concept, like I said, like as the other groups, meaning I have the hashtag picture of all the different hashtags that you can use, the different, you know, how to use either laptop or smartphone in Spanish, you know, giving that guidance for all of you when you welcome someone. And on the product, on the opportunity, I use hashtag misión, which is almost the same as in English, mission, for example, which that's our mission. So I do believe it's very simple, but if you guys have like specific detailed questions, you are more than welcome to private message me, and I tend to reply right away. And if for whatever reason I can't, I'll let you know, hey, let me call you, you know, this time, or you know what, let me research because I really don't have an idea, for example.
Well, find an answer. You're always it is. We're so grateful for you. So you guys utilize that group. Who doesn't want to have teams, you know, and just thinking of just all the countries that we will be going into, right? And so just really starting to cultivate that for you. I mean, you have a global business, you have a global organization. So, you know, having these tools all set in place and really what the product pages have done, you know, for us, I mean, it's just incredible. So let's definitely utilize that and put your intention and your vision out there to have a global community, global organization across the world. So thank you so much, Cindy. I think Cindy Murphy, hold on, I can't see you have your hand up, Cindy. I don't know if that's I'm going to unmute you, Cindy Murphy.
Hey there.
Do you have a question? Yeah.
I really don't have a question. I have a shout out to Cindy Vasquez. The beginning of June, I am actually doing a launch party locally, and it's all Spanish people. So I was like, well, how am I going to do this? I'm a yellow too, so I can make them laugh, but they won't understand a thing I'm saying. So Cindy is actually, we're going to get her in on Zoom, and she's going to translate what I'm saying while I'm presenting. So just a huge shout out, because I have a huge Spanish team growing with Maria Flores and Teresa Rodriguez, and I know you work so closely with them and do three-way calls, Spanish three-way calls, that I could absolutely never do. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm looking forward to the launch party with you as well. That'll be fun.
Technology, absolutely. We all, anybody who has ever been blessed to work with Cindy, we all how absolutely grateful we are for her. So just tons of info. And you think about that though, you guys, like, I mean, just really, you know, having, and gosh, as your community grows, then more people speak Spanish, and that's more people three-way calls, right? That number one tool here that we're talking about. So thank you again, Cindy. You guys, shout out to Shelby. I know just went Crystal Director too. So shout out to Shelby for hitting that. It's super exciting. And just for everybody, you know, just keep showing up, guys, I'll post a link to the stuff, but really just, you know, take charge, get your vision, and you know, it's a journey, and it's a process. So we're all at different stages, but it's just so awesome. Does anybody else have anything that they want to say, or a shout out before we jump off? I always get time for shout outs and celebrations. Let's see. All right, Joey.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hey, I just want to thank you guys for helping me get this thing started. It's definitely been an adventure, to say the least. And like Chris said, if you can show results, people tend to go with you a lot easier. And when you talk to people, they listen. And if you say something that they want to hear, need to hear, they tend to jump on board. So I could have done the work we've done without the help from Gerald and Chris, actually. So both of them have been very helpful, and I appreciate their help.
Well, I am excited for you guys. So it's how it starts. It's how all the goodness starts. So anybody else? All right, guys. Well, again, happy Mother's Day to all the amazing moms out there. And I just feel super blessed to have Kathy Coover as our ISA mom, right? That it's the whole company, but as we all know, the ISA mom of our team stuff is always ISA Mama Joy. So we all know Mama Joy. So super, super grateful for Mama Joy and all the moms out there. Love you guys. It's such a great journey. And, you know, why we got a big thing to share with people. So, all right, guys, y'all have a great night. And definitely you guys check out that Rod Harrison call that I'm going to post. It is beyond epic. Listen to it again and again and again and again, and really start understanding those things, because we're all worth just absolutely living an extraordinary life. So, all right. See you guys later.